Good morning, spiritual companions. Today we are reading God, the Substance of All Form by Joel S. Goldsmith. Continuing Chapter 9, Nature of the Individual as Consciousness. Page 111, Experiencing God. The aim or purpose of following the spiritual path is not to be able to name God, but to experience God, and then let God be to us whatever it unfolds itself as. Because to each of us, God will disclose and reveal itself in an individual way. The highest prayer, the highest meditation, comes when we have entirely eliminated all preconceived opinions, thoughts, forms, or names for God, and have allowed ourselves to become receptive, saying, "Father, reveal Thyself." This does not mean that God is Father in the sense of a human father, because no one could ever dream of God as merely a male parent, nor could anyone, in speaking of God as mother, think in terms of a human mother. The term father-mother merely denotes special qualities of God. When we refer to God as Father, we naturally think of a strong power that can be relied upon, a supporting or maintaining power, or even at times of a disciplinarian. When we refer to God as Mother, we naturally think of God as a gentle presence or protective influence. When we think of God as Father-Mother, we are thinking of all these qualities which surround us and form a very cloud around our shoulders and a light unto our feet. Once we have actually felt or understood that God is neither father nor mother, that God is not a person in any sense of the word, and have thrown out all our own ideas as to what God is, and have let God reveal itself, let God manifest itself, then God will come with a feeling and an awareness, and never again will there be a question in our minds as to what God is, or as to what term or name to use. My sense of God is that of an indescribable presence and feeling. I do not know God except through feeling. I feel the presence all through me, through my chest, through my fingertips. No matter what the external circumstances are, even when at times they might seem discordant, I am always conscious of this presence, a sensing, a feeling, an awareness. This subject of the nature of God has been enlarged upon, not that you may gain a greater intellectual knowledge of truth, but in the hope that many of you will eventually be so lifted in consciousness that you will have the actual experience of feeling God and can finally say, "I have seen God face to face." Ultimately, that is what will happen to all those who follow the spiritual path. They will be lifted in consciousness to the place where God is a reality. And then, when someone asks them, "What is God?" they will only smile, because there will be nothing else they can do. I would not know what else to do if someone asked me, "What is God?" Because after you have felt God, you can no longer name it. It cannot be done. There are no words to describe it, and there is no way to visualize it for someone else. It must always be an individual experience. When we arrive at that place in unfoldment, where we take into our meditation the prayer, God, reveal thyself, and ultimately feel it, only then will we have come to a point of spiritual understanding. The whole purpose of our being on this plane of life is the attainment of that realization of God. Once we have achieved that, once we have arrived at conscious oneness with God, the mistakes, discords, and inharmonies of life fade away, and God actually becomes the life of our being, the support, the supply, the wisdom, the guidance, and the intelligence. God becomes the gentleness, the peacefulness of our being, and yet there is the full realization that all this is still God appearing as. Once we have the sense of the presence of God, we know that all we have or experience is the result of that presence, and that we shall always have it. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Once that thing touches you, you know it is there, and it never leaves you nor forsakes you. Yes, you may have hours or days or even weeks when you say, I feel entirely cut off from God. And you might really feel that way. You might feel as if you were a human being let loose in the world and that you had lost your base. But it comes back very, very quickly, and you find that you were not really away from it. It was just a little beyond your reach for a while. The pressure from outside was too much for the moment. Who am I? We must come to some kind of realization as to where we stand in relation to God. We speak of God with us. We speak of God as filling all space. But just who am I, and where am I? Begin by thinking about your big toe and ask yourself the question, is that I? The answer will come back. No, it is not I. It is mine. Then in thought, turn to the foot to see if you are the foot, or if the foot is yours. Continue with this questioning all the way up to your head and see if you can find yourself localized in any part of your body. Or have you by now discovered that you are not in the body, but that the body is yours? You will not find yourself in the body because you are not there. The body is yours, but you are not in the body. Why? Because you are consciousness, you are intelligence, and you cannot entomb consciousness or intelligence in flesh. Consciousness governs body. It is not entombed in body. How could intelligence, a state of awareness, be confined within a brain or a stomach? You are consciousness. How do you know that? Because you are conscious. You are conscious of your body. You are conscious of your family. You are conscious of your nation. You are conscious of the oceans, stars, sun, moon. All of these are embraced within the consciousness which you are. If they were not in your consciousness, you could not be aware of them. The moment you begin to understand that, you will begin to see why you are not localized in a chair or even in a room. Right where you sit is the whole earth, encompassed within your consciousness. Therefore, you must be larger than the earth to be able to encompass it within your consciousness. End of section. End of today's reading.